We have a bit of a problem here in the office. We have what I refer to now as flow-through ventilation. Look. We got, someone has assaulted the office. We need a new pane of glass in here. See? All right, can you handle it? Oh, by the way, going to be an announcement today. Yeah, I know. Yeah, going to be an announcement today. We're going to, they're going to say that we think that now you have mandatory masks for any dogs in open spaces. I know. But April Fool. Okay, bye. Now, wouldn't that be something? Don't knock over our pedestrians here, Kevin, in this fine downtown core. Sorry, I kept you waiting. You don't have a jacket on. It's a little bit cold today. We got some flurries. I don't know if you see them or not. But welcome to Season 2, Episode 13. Episode 13 on April Fool's Day. Isn't that kind of cool? Well, we have this thing undergoing at Fiddler's Poorhouse in just a bit. We are fueled by Gales Gas Bars Limited. We are powered by WeeStream with the very frigid, I shouldn't say frigid, the very cold Kevin Jack behind the camera here with WeeStream. We are also supported by Performance Heating and Air. We're going to be talking to Carlo Zecchini, by the way, from Performance HVAC, coming up a little later in the program. Also, Simpson's Pharmacies in Virgil, Niagara-on-the-Lake, they're along for the ride as well. Also, Verge Insurance Group, thank you for supporting us. We've got a really interesting show today. It's a big announcement day. We're going to carry it live for you on the show. So come on in, we'll get this thing underway, all right? Okay, Season 2, Episode 13 already of Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. Guess who that is? And we're going to be coming back in just about 30 seconds to bring you up to date with what is going to be happening today on the program. And we'd really like you to be able to participate as you've already been doing online. More on that in a minute. Here we are. Yeah, Fiddler's Poorhouse on St. Paul Street here in St. Catharines. Now, last week, we were blessed with the opportunity of being able to open this lovely big garage door behind us and bask in the warmth and sunlight of the first week of spring. Well, not so much today. This is Mother Nature's April Fool's joke, those flurries that you see floating around behind us. We're not really out of the woods until we get into late May. You know, you never really know, but we've been pretty darn lucky with the weather that we've had so far. So we are indeed here kicking off episode 13 of, a little chilly out there, episode 13 of season 2. Now, I want to pick up on what we were talking about in the office down the street before we go too much further into the program. And the fact that today is going to be a day where I believe emotions are going to be running pretty hot. There is going to be an announcement by Ontario Premier Ford, expected to be happening at 1:30 this afternoon. We are going to be staying on live here on Niagara 411 Live to carry that announcement for you. So you don't have to go anywhere else. You can just leave yourself logged right in here where you are, and we'll bring you that announcement live, and we'll stay online as well so that you can continue to comment as you see fit. Now, an interesting thing happened in the fact that when Kevin put the teaser, I've learned that's the broadcast, that's the professional term now, is teaser. That's a joke, I knew that. So anyway, when Kevin put the teaser up on Facebook today about the fact that there would be an announcement, and we kind of sort of expected what is going to be in the announcement. There have been many media outlets, CTV and others, put articles out as to what is expected to be in the announcement. And the expected announcement is a complete lockdown for Ontario for a minimum of a month. Now, that's what's expected. Will this complete lockdown be really a complete lockdown, or will it be some version of a lockdown that we had in the very beginning? I know it is like trying to herd cats, and that's what this whole thing has been. But there are expectations that we are going to, once again, not be able to eat indoors at restaurants at all, that they will be pickup and delivery only. Once again, we'll back off the barbers and hair salons. I mean, well, to put not too fine a point on it, the reaction has already, before we even went to air here, the reaction has been very, very brisk. Kevin, how many comments did we get? Before we went to air, we had something like 155 comments just on the post we put up about what was coming up on the show.
There we go. We got 160, Lee.
160 now. So for those of you that have commented on that post, 160 plus of you, here's what we'd love you to be able to do, because this is your chance now live to be able to do this, because this is the point of the show. You can go onto any Facebook page and make a comment on anything you like, but this is the place where you actually have an opportunity to come on and have a conversation about it. So click on the link that is on the post, and you'll come into our Zoom room. Kevin, make sure your camera's turned on your computer, because that's what allows us to see you. And then Kevin will get you all sorted out, and we'll have a conversation. So if you're one of those people, if you're one of those 160 plus people that did comment, you obviously are concerned one way or the other about this proposed announcement or expected, alleged announcement, whatever adjective you want to use, that's coming up at 1:30. Come and talk to us, because that's what we're here for. That's what we do. That's the whole point of this program, is to bring your opinions, your perspectives, your experiences, your thoughts to Niagara. All right? So obviously there's enough concern out there to have already commented hundreds of times. 730 comments sitting there right now, and 681 shares. Is that right?
Yeah, that's of the announcement about the announcement.
Of our announcement about the fact that there's going to be an announcement.
Yes.
So there is obviously a little bit of concern out in our community. So bring it on. We are here. Our first guest isn't actually planned until after 12:30 today. Amy Layton is a Royal LePage real estate agent in Niagara. As you may have noticed, if you've not been living under a rock somewhere, real estate prices have gone through the roof, not just in the usual places like Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver, but here in Niagara, prices that agents have never seen before are being asked. It's very, very difficult for some of them, not maybe the top echelon of the agents, because listings are hard to find. Because once a house is listed, there are multiple offers, and things go crazy. So we're going to talk with Amy about the dynamics that are behind that, the whys, the wherefores, the whats, etc. And that comes up. Amy will be joining us, like I said, after 12:30, 12:40, 12:45, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, also coming up around 1 o'clock today, one of our sponsors is going to be joining us. So we're really, really looking forward to having our first online on-air chat with Carlo Zecchini of Performance Heating and Air. This is the season for you to be thinking about that part of your home, the heating and the air and all of those kinds of things. As the seasons change, so do the requirements of your system. So we're going to be talking to Carlo Zecchini about that when he joins us in the area of 1-ish. All right. Also, again, would like to remind you that Verge Insurance Group is part of the family here, and we're going to be talking with a member of that group in the upcoming weeks as well. We chatted with Sean Simpson of Simpson's Pharmasave. We also thank those folks for being here. Keep going to their site, by the way, if you want to be up to date with what's happening with vaccines in pharmacies in Ontario. It's because that's a fluid situation at the moment. I heard some reports today about what vaccine they would be using if they used them, what pharmacies were in and out, and et cetera. And I sure don't remember all of it or any of it, frankly. But go onto the Simpsons Pharmacy websites and you can definitely find out all the information there, because they keep everybody up to date. So thanks for that. Gales Gas Bars Limited continuing to fuel this program, and we thank you folks for doing that. And again, everybody that sponsors the program is entitled at one point or another to come on and chat about their business. What Gales does with their time is allow us to come in and talk with a community organization, and they donate that time to them. So that's pretty cool that they do that. And of course, WeeStreem with Kevin Jack, our executive producer, co-owner of WeeStream, and there he is right there. And Kevin, it's been really, really interesting what's been happening in media over the last little while. We remember the fact that Premier Ford, we were talking about this earlier, Premier Ford sort of did his own live stream TV station during the last election. Remember that? It was the Ford Nation TV or whatever the heck he called it. And he was pretty brilliant to do that. He got some criticism for it, just because I think it was outside the box and it was different. But it was using the technology that is putting people over the top in some cases these days, including us with this one. So Kevin, it's a pleasure to be associated with you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would encourage any local politician, if you want to look good online, if you want to hold professional-looking on-location press conferences, the way that Premier Doug Ford did this week right at Table Rock, I'd encourage you to do so. And here, Lee, if you want to talk about the power of live streaming in today's media world, here are some of the stats from Premier Ford's visit. So he came to Niagara Falls, right, and he live streamed it, and he's got 60,000 views of his press conference at Table Rock. And then other iterations of it, 41,000. All told, he's got over 150,000 views of the event that he did at Table Rock. So,
yeah, so it is the medium of the present as well as the future. And we're on the cutting edge of it here, and I don't say that with too much exaggeration, because it is indeed something new for Niagara that we are doing, and it's a blast to do it. It's cool to watch it grow, and it's even better when you participate, as you have been doing on the comment section of the announcement about the announcement. We have restaurants that'll be affected again, we believe. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but all of the media outlets, as I mentioned earlier, have their leaks and their sources as to what is going to be a part of this announcement when it comes up at 1:30 this afternoon, and they believe that we're going into some sort of modified gray zone. But we also hear that schools are going to remain open. We've got Easter weekend coming up, and then what, Kevin? We're back to school for 4 days. And then the newly rescheduled spring break is supposed to take place. And the operative words here is supposed to take place, because we're not 100% sure whether that's happening the way they planned it either. We're not 100% sure of any damn thing right now. But they're also trying to get the age limit for vaccinations moved down as quickly as possible. I know Mayor John Tory of Toronto's just really banging the drum to get the Premier to announce that they're going to vaccinate anybody 55 and older, maybe even 50 and older, to try to get as many needles in arms as is humanly possible. We're not sure about that either. There has been frustration out in Niagara about trying to schedule their vaccines. I know two people personally, very, very close to me, family members, that had to keep going back on and on and on and on the provincial site to find something that would allow them to click through and actually make the appointment. They finally got there, but there is quite a sense of frustration with that process as well. Maybe it's smoothing out today. What was your experience? I've also talked to people that it was absolutely seamless. They went on, they did the thing, they showed up, they got the poke, and they're done. So there are, as per usual, different schools of thought. The announcement at 1:30, I repeat, we are going to stay live all the way through that announcement. We will stay live for a little while after the announcement has been concluded for, again, your feedback if you choose to give it here on Niagara 411 Live with Sterry. We would appreciate you cooperating and talking to us and participating in that. So you can just stay right here, and as things unfold for the day, which is going to determine your life for the next month or so, it'll all be right here. You don't have to switch away or go anyplace else.
Now, Lee, I got a question there on the bottom of the screen. Should schools stay open? And Niagara 411 has a link to the story that Minister Stephen Lecce tweeted this morning that, in fact, the schools will remain open, which is almost counterintuitive to most people. If we're going into a lockdown, why are schools staying open? He's insinuating that after the March break, or I guess what is now the spring break, there are going to be stricter protocols in place within the schools to make things safer. I don't know.
Well,
it's so. I'll tell you this: that on Tuesday of this week, our school told us that our kids are to take home everything today, and we've seen similar edicts from the Catholic School Board, from the DSBN. But today, when my wife picks up the kids at the end of the school day, they're bringing home all of their belongings. So it makes you wonder if we're going back.
Not that after a 47 odd year career in broadcasting that I'm at all cynical. I have a feeling that the announcement about schools remaining open is simply to keep the politicians from getting mud slung at them even harder than just a regular shutdown, because it's such a hardship for parents to deal with the at-home learning thing and all those things that we discussed and parents experienced for the months that there was no school. I really don't think politically they want to go there. And I'm not so sure it makes sense from a healthcare standard, as if I'm a doctor, but I drive by schools, not so much elementary schools. The little kiddies are doing a pretty good job, I think, of trying to follow the rules. And I think the teachers in those atmospheres are trying to do a pretty good job, too, of reminding the kiddies that, the masks are important for you, so that you stay healthy and you keep your mom and dad and your grandparents healthy and all these things. And I think they're really trying to do that. How effective it is, I don't know. But the high schools, whole different sack of hammers. You can drive by any high school or middle school or whatever you want to call it, and there's bunches and bunches of students, teenagers. And there's maybe a couple of masks, maybe there's 2 in 10 would be my guess that have masks on. How effective is this? It's sort of, this is deja vu. This is like the movie Groundhog Day, and we all feel like Bill Murray. We're just, oh my God. I just woke up today and I'm hearing the same stuff all over again. And that dude Sterry on that Niagara 411 Live, he's talking about the same stuff. I'm sorry, but here we go again, is sort of the theme of the day. Here we go again. Anyway, so we got Carlo Zecchini coming up from Performance Heating and Air a little bit after 1 o'clock. And we have, by the way, at the end of the program, we're going to bring back a musical artist that was on the program before, Gravely James. He's got a new song out. It's called Shoot 'Em Down. And as you might guess, if you were going to think of what theme is behind that song, there was yet another mass shooting in the United States yesterday. That makes 3 within a couple of weeks, and this is a song that Gravely James wrote and is performing about that topic that's happening in the United States. So we'll bring you that new piece of music following the news conference that is happening today at approximately 1:30. The Ontario government says 1:30, but...
Yeah, now, I don't know, Lee. I'll just admit that graphic there over your shoulder, that's the best picture I could find. Okay, I'll take credit for that. That's the best I could do. Short notice. But yeah, at 1:30 we are going to be carrying that announcement live. Lee, cannot stress enough that this is an open lines show.
That's what we're here for. It's an open line show.
So many people commenting on the teaser post, so many people commenting on this post. But this is unlike any other medium available to you. You can come on right now. Just click that
easy.
Zoom link. It's so easy. Lee treats you real nice. You come on here, and trust me, no opinion is going to be berated. Lee and I, gosh, I mean, this COVID conversation, I don't want to say I'm tired of it, but I just accept everybody's opinion. Sure, that's what you think? I'm fine with that. That's what you think? I'm fine with that, because everybody's got an opinion these days. We see them all in the comments, and we'd love to have you on the show. This is Niagara 411 Live. It's an opportunity to bring those comments and the Niagara 411 community to life.
Yeah.
And we can do it. We got a short window here, so please, if you're typing away in the comments,
come and talk to us. Yeah. All you have to do is do that little clicky thing, make sure your camera on the computer is turned on. Those are the only things you have to worry about, and we do the rest. All right? You can do it from your car, not while you're driving, we prefer, but from just about anywhere at all. And it's Kevin was talking about the fact that people are tired of it. This is why I believe this is going to be something that really sets off some heated debate when this announcement is made. How they couch this announcement, how they frame it, is yet to be seen. However, there was just beginning to be kind of a sort of a provincial collective sigh of hope and somewhat relief as we inch our way to normalcy. However, it looks like we're going to be, instead of inching our way forward, we're going to be actually leaping backward. And the businesses, the small businesses that are affected, I don't know what to say anymore, except we feel for you. And it's tough. Just sitting in the window here week after week after week at Fiddler's Poorhouse. When the lockdown, when Niagara is still in the gray area, there was just Kevin and I in here, and occasionally a cleaning person, etc., would make sure the place is keeping up to standards, etc. But and then later in the day, the kitchen staff would prepare for the orders that were going to be picked up or delivered or whatever. That was it. And then all of a sudden it's, you can do 10 inside now. And they do the 7 days a week, open from 3 until 10, 3 until 9. And it made a difference. Even that little bit made a difference. The proprietor was saying, we've got a little bit of juice flowing at least. We're just starting. By no means are we getting rich, but we've got just a little bit of, I guess hope is a big word, that we're starting to ramp back up. Then, of course, we get into red, and things are just a little bit better. People are smiling a little bit more. You can actually go sit down under certain circumstances and enjoy a beverage and have something to eat. And the hair salon, people can get their hair cut. I think we've been open just long enough for most people to be able to keep their appointments and get their hair cut. And now coming up at 1:30 today, we're expecting everything to be rolled back. So I do believe emotions are running high, and I understand the fact that this is something that might be relatively new for you to participate in, and it's really, really easy and more desirable to remain kind of anonymous and type your comments online, etc., even though your name is there. But it's even more, it's more engaging to engage one-on-one and have a conversation and hear your experience. And because Kevin said, we're not going to condemn anybody for an opinion, because everybody's experience has been different. My experience as a retired guy with no kids at home and really no place I have to be because I work from home anyway, being a voice guy. So my experience is totally different than what Kevin's was, who made a huge portion of his living, for example, live streaming sporting events and live gatherings and weddings and things of that nature, and just cut the very heart out of what he and Brandon at WeeStream were doing as their core business to make a living. So these things are different for different people.
You're absolutely right, Lee. And some of it, people all along have been criticizing the government. Very easy to do so, and looking at the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
There's a human element to it as well. My parents were planning to come down and visit not just me, but my wife and their grandchildren, our 2 children. They haven't seen them or touched them, other than video chat in forever, it seems.
Yeah.
They canceled. They canceled today because it's against provincial regulations. Both of them have received their shots. So here's a scenario. We've got 2 people that are vaccinated. They're aching. We're emotional support for them.
Yeah.
And they are no longer. Now it's just going to be longer. I don't know if it's been 9 months, 10 months. It's been eons. And when I got the text from them this morning saying that they're not coming in, perfectly honest, like I had a tear in my eye. Because I longed to see them and to touch them for so long. They've been so good. They finally got their vaccines. And now, again, Ford kind of pulling the rug out from under them.
My wife has her vaccine planned, I believe it is for April the 11th over here at Seymour Hannah. And as does my sister, as a matter of fact. I hope to get mine shortly. But, and I have, this is just another example of people's personal stories. I have a daughter-in-law in British Columbia. I have 2 daughters-in-law in British Columbia, as a matter of fact. One of them is pregnant and will be giving birth sometime in July. She could use a bit of a support system, so my wife is planning on flying out there, I think April 20th or something like that, after she had her shot. I don't know whether she'll be able to do that now. I don't know. And these are loved ones that are very dear to us, and we're trying to help. But we don't know whether we can do that, and we don't know what we can't do either.
I'll tell you, Lee, that a lot of people are taking advantage of their last opportunity to grab a bite to eat today at Fiddler's.
Yeah.
Open at noon.
We're open right now.
And what about all these people that work in this industry, given a tease about a month ago, hey, things are going to come back to normal. Hey, we got some shifts. You're getting a couple of shifts a week. And then to wake up this morning or hear the news late last night, officially this afternoon, and again, we'll carry that press conference live, to hear that they're done again. By the way, you won't be getting a paycheck for another month.
Yeah, Dave Mukparian, proprietor here at Fiddler's Poorhouse, we were talking to him a couple of weeks ago, and he said he spends so much of his time talking with employees that he had on premises before about what he can and can't do as far as the number of people that he needs, the number of hours that are required, and some people don't get great news, and there's nothing he can do about it. You'd love to employ everybody full time if you could, but that's just not possible. So now we go back, and it's an entire ripple effect. I remember back in the early days when everybody was gainfully employed, but every number of years it was in the Auto Workers Union. It's now another union name, but back in the day, we used to provide stats on what one full-time General Motors worker would mean to the entire community if they went on strike. And it was always something like 5 or 7 to 1. For every full-time employee in that industry, 7 others in ancillary industries would be affected. So, and it's a little bit, and it reminds me a little bit of what's going on here. We see the tip of the iceberg. We see the obvious effects of what happens when a lockdown occurs. What we don't see is the other 70% that's below the waterline, and thank God there are some of us that can swim through that waterline, and to carry on a ridiculous metaphor, but so many families can't. So,
Lee, I just want to hop in here for a second. We do have somebody in the green room. Just talking to them directly now. Connect your audio, and then we'll throw you on. I can see them. They're there. They haven't connected their audio yet to avoid that fumble live on the air. But we got somebody in the green room, and I encourage other people. Like you said, 160 comments this morning just on the fact that we're going to host a show. It's your opportunity now to come on and voice those opinions. Don't just let them die in the comments section. Come on the show and get it said. It's so easy to do so. Click on that Zoom link, and we'll throw you on.
And we know that this is it's something new. Some people aren't necessarily all that comfortable with, well, my face is out there for everybody to see. But don't worry about it. You do it with your friends and family. Just think of it as another FaceTime chat, or a duo call, because that's pretty much what it is, except for the fact that we're talking about something that other people are interested in as well, not just you and your family. We're all interested in that.
All right.
So
you want to try this guy out?
yeah, what's the name?
I'm not sure.
We're not sure.
That's the beauty of the show. I mean,
Let's go.
You can make it up. But
Let's go.
He's not in the seat right now, but he was. He's walking around somewhere. He raised his hand, so I'm assuming he wants to chat.
Okay. The Invisible Man.
Anybody there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I think. Oh, hello. Did you get your audio on? No, you don't.
Let's
we-
get this stuff.
Do we?
Yeah, we can hear him.
Oh, you do. It was me that didn't have my audio on. Sorry about that, mate. Who are we talking to?
Hey, so my name's Phil Black from Welland, Ontario, and I figured I'd jump on a breaking. And first of all, say thanks so much for hosting a great platform. Truly,
We got
this is the
sorry, Kev. We got a lot of clips here.
Yeah, man, your audio's pretty poor right now. I don't know how many different microphones you got on the go and this and that, but we're trying our best. But hey, this is a live show. Want to give it another whirl, and if not, maybe just reconnect and come back in.
Well, see how this.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, kind of scratchy. Looks like you're. Yeah, you got some tech going on over there that's failing you, like Bluetoothing your phone to some receiver and then using your headset. And yeah, I see what's going on down there. But you know what? Maybe simplify it and come back in the room, okay? Maybe just go straight from yourself.
Yeah, because we want to talk to you. Sorry about that, Phil. All right. Darn. All right. Yeah, it's. Well, that can happen too. You have too many things going on at home at once.
Yeah, I think I know who that is. We've never met, but I've seen some of his work. I recognize the set from Facebook, so he's fairly technically inclined, and I've seen him do some other stuff.
So he understands what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, yeah, okay, I see what you're trying to do, but it's just failing you right now. Isn't that the beauty of technology? It's wonderful until it doesn't work. It seems to always be the way that it goes.
But we'll work with you on that as well. Don't worry about it. So
you want to try that again?
Is he there again?
We're
for
back. I think we simplified things. So without further ado, Lee, here you go. We'll give it
All
a
right.
whirl.
Hello, Lee. Thanks for having me today.
Hey, we got her going. What's your name, sir?
My name's Phil Gladman. I'm from Welland, Ontario, and I follow Niagara 411 quite avidly. And I just wanted to jump on and break the ice. Thanks so much for having us here.
Well, thank you for breaking the ice. I see by the posters behind you that you have been or are somewhat interested in regional politics.
As a Canadian, I truly believe, and I'm here to inspire everybody who might be watching, but fearful of joining the broadcast live. As a Canadian, I think we should truly be focused on all of our politics, from our municipal community happenings to our regional dealings, as well as our provincial and federal happenings, which is, I think, why we're all here today.
And I agree with you, and it's great. Whether I do or don't agree with you, it's important that you voice that. And obviously, judging by the names I see behind you, you've been doing this for quite some time.
Sure. It's my interest in Canadian politics, more so our municipal happenings, as you do see behind me a variety of historic signage of our Niagara regional politics, well, municipal politics, and our provincial politics as well. Non-partisan myself, but these are all just mementos people
Right.
have to.
Okay. Well, thanks for taking the plunge and coming in to talk to us and send your message out. And it is important because we've got who knows when the next federal election is coming up. There are some say that we're going to have one sprung on us after the budget. And we know that there is one scheduled provincially in June of 2022, if not sooner, if something triggers that. So to take your message forward, it's time that we all start paying attention. Thank you, my friend, for coming in.
Hey, school or no school, it should be up to all of us. Have a great day, Lee.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, it's that easy, Lee. And yeah, you know what? We have problems with audio in Welland, it seems.
We've had that before. Maybe it's the provider or that last section of pipe,
I don't know.
if you will. Well, actually, it used to be explained to me by a radio engineer is the fact that it really doesn't matter how effective or how powerful the provider is. It's that last section between your ultimate provider and what connects you to it, and that can be an issue. Most of the areas are pretty darn clean and clear, but you get the odd one, and that happens. And you have to feel for the rural people that are, in some cases, not far beyond dial-up.
That's me. It's getting better, but your options when you're off the grid, so to speak, are poor and poorer.
Yeah.
Those seems to be my internet options at home.
Have you had the experience of just even maybe for giggles following real estate prices in your area? Anybody that owns a home is always kind of curious about what it's worth. I mean, we're not planning on selling, but I wonder if we were going to sell. What can we get for it? We're the same. Everybody's sort of curious about how your equity is doing in your home. And in most areas of Niagara, it's skyrocketed over the last while.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to take a jump around? Where you want to go here, Lee?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go. Pick one.
All right. I mean,
I don't care. Pick one.
Here's downtown St. Catharines.
There was
There you go. There's a residence right there.
All right, on Gerard. Relatively new. That's a pretty big home.
Yeah, $695,000.
Location was always the mantra for real estate, and it still is to some degree. I don't live in the ritziest neighborhood. I do live in the North End, which is got some nice subdivisions in it. Ours is one of them. Around the corner from us, little side split. I don't know, 1,300 square feet, 1,400 square feet. Not that big a house.
And here you go. This isn't an extravagant house. This
No,
is
it's
North
a
End St.
normal
Catharines.
side split house. Yeah, $750,000. This house around the corner from me. Nice backyard, but I mean, you don't live in your backyard. You enjoy it, but regular house, no garage. It was listed at $790,000. It sold in about 10 days. Wow. I'm sorry, but that's a lot of money, and I feel sorry for young people. We always say this. Here we go again, the Groundhog Day thing, the mantra over and over. How do young people get into the market? Where does that money come from? Just to get into it. And that's one of the questions that will segue us into chatting with Amy Layton of Royal LePage. Amy, hi. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. You just heard me waxing philosophic about how the heck do you get into the market here in Niagara if you're trying to even get your toe in. And I know you've been asked that question numerous times. How are people getting into the market here, Amy?
Well,
a
number of different ways. I heard you just speaking about young kids and first-time buyers getting in.
Yeah.
A lot of them have just been saving for a while, and some are going to the bank of mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, and any maybe sort of inheritance that they were going to get at some point. They're getting it now to help with their down payment for home, and or joining forces with friends and having a few people on title. There's a few ways people are getting in there. It's tough.
How long have you been a realtor in Niagara?
This is my 9th year.
Okay.
Yep.
And walk us through the 9 years. How does this year compare? How does this situation today compare to your previous experience?
Well, I mean, when I first started in 2012, it was a pretty stable market. Pretty fair to sellers and buyers. Getting into the tail end of 2015 and definitely into 2016, we saw quite an increase. Real estate, as buying or selling anything, it's quite simply boiled down to supply and demand, and it's really what it is. If we don't, like right now, as we did in 2016 and getting into like the summer of 17, we have a severe lack of inventory for a lot of different reasons, but it's making it tough with the interest rate being very low. So the cost of borrowing money has never been lower to get a mortgage, which is a ton of money. And with people who have been trying to, some of these people have been trying to buy a house since 2016 or 17 when that big boom happened, and then say, I'll take a break and we'll meet you down the road, Amy, or whatever. And here we are again.
Is this, what role has COVID played in this, if any?
I think definitely with COVID, it's, I mean, obviously been extremely stressful for all of us, not just the buyers, the sellers, us, everybody. With COVID, we definitely have restrictions on showings, on time limits and protocols, declarations. As far as the market itself, though, as I figured you're probably getting to that point too.
Yeah.
It did slow things down definitely in the very beginning, like mid-March last year when we went into our first lockdown. Like I can't even believe it's been a year and 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Definitely had an effect, and it lasted for probably about 3-4 weeks. And then once we had things in place and we were getting protocols from the government, from the health department, local, provincially, and federally, we eased back into that, and it just has been on an increase since. I think, like some people are just, as if they sell their house, where are they going to go? That's always the question. So it's caused a lack of inventory. We went into 2020 with a lack of inventory, and then COVID did not help.
All right.
In that respect, but
I have a bit of a theory. You can tell me whether it makes any sense or whether I'm
sure.
Whether I'm whistling Dixie here.
Right.
The movement toward working from home has really exploded for obvious reasons.
Yep.
There are those that are predicting, and companies that have announced this, that we would not be returning 100% to the working out of the home model that we were before, which allows people to live in the community of their choice and still work in the community of their choice. So for people that own homes in very expensive markets like Oakville, Mississauga, Toronto, those places that can sell their house for a lot of money, keep some jingle in their jeans, and buy something here in Niagara. Is that happening? Is that part of the scenario, or am I just making something up here?
It's definitely part of it. It's not like I wouldn't say it's a gigantic part of it.
Okay.
Right, it's not like 80% of the houses that are selling is for that reason. No.
Why are the prices so high then in Niagara? Why if that can be a part of it? Why are they so high?
It's honestly, Lee. It's honestly just supply and demand. We just don't have enough listings. We don't have enough houses for sale, and the interest rates are very low. People are ready to buy. The buyers are there, and we just don't have enough houses to sell. And it's honestly just not Niagara. It's everywhere. I'm very fortunate. I'm fortunate to have colleagues around Canada into the States, and they're all feeling it.
Some of the financial gurus will say a great big and continuing increase like this in real estate prices and activity is simply the light before the crash. Do you and then there are others that say they don't see anything slowing down. They see it just continuing to stay hot. Which side of the line do you come down on?
Well, we take our information for trends from definitely our federal experts, mostly coming from our CEO of Royal LePage, Phil Soper, who's really just bang on. He's the voice of Canadian real estate for decades, and and you can analyze things to death, right? But the analysis is that we are expecting to see this continue for the year. Lord knows what will happen. I honestly hope not. This is not sustainable. This will end at some point. And it's really on, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of my colleagues I think would agree, it's all about education. I think there's a lot of misinformation about everything out in the world. And I think when people know, like when I'm talking to my own clients who are thinking of buying or selling, and they're like, Amy, is this a good time? Should we do this? Even last April and May, at the beginning of all this, and just you have to sit down and have that conversation, because maybe it is okay for them and maybe it isn't. I had 8 of my 10 clients at the beginning of last year, or in March. I'm calling them initially saying, I think we should just halt and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely not sustainable. This will come to an end, hopefully by the end of the year, is what the experts are telling us.
Yeah. So but then nobody really wants to see it go the other way in a hurry either. Like just absolutely,
That's right.
Nobody wants to see the bottom fall out of the market at the end of the day either.
Yeah. So that's where we come in advising our clients. That's our job, we're giving you the information we have, we're advising you, and we're your guide to making your own decision, right? So we're protecting you the best that we can. If I'm showing somebody something that's listed at, $600,000, and they're like, oh, what's the point? Because my budget's $650, I'm gonna have to go $100,000 over asking. Well, you might not. I had clients a month ago that actually purchased a townhouse in St. Catharines under asking.
Okay.
That they were holding offers and didn't get any. So,
because that's kind of the urban myth that's out there right now, is the fact that I'm not even going to bother because they won't take conditions. There's going to be 39 offers and it's going to sell for $100,000 over. So I mean that happens, but it's not necessarily every case. Then is what you're saying.
You got it. I think in January or February. Looking at our statistics, and I'm all about stats and numbers. The numbers don't lie, right? It was, I think it was the end of January anyway. I hope I'm not wrong. January or February. It was 55% of our homes that were selling in Niagara were selling over asking. So it's only like half.
Yeah. Amy, can I ask you a question here? Just about the whole buying process. It seemed that years ago, you would put your house on the market. It might stay on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. You would field some offers in that time. Now it seems you put something on the market on a Friday, and you just tell people we're accepting offers on Monday, and you've got a slew of them, and a lot of them are over asking. How has that changed, and how has it changed for you, and how has it changed for buyers and sellers?
Well, that's still happening, but again, it's not every listing. So it depends. It depends on what's going on. Like if I'm listing a 3-bedroom bungalow in St. Catharines, that's a very popular type of house. I'm probably going to suggest to my seller, because I'm obligated to look out for their best interest, right? To hold offers and say, put it up on that Wednesday or Thursday, and then schedule a time that we're going to receive offers. And it's also in an effort to try to make it fair to those who want to see the house. So it's still happening, but not with everything. Okay. The very high-end market, we're not seeing a lot of holding offers, but some of them are still going into multiple offers.
Okay, so, Leah, I just kind of want to follow up with that.
Go.
And so along those lines, you see people suggesting that some houses are put on the market purposely with a low number just to instigate a bidding war.
Yeah.
Is that happening? You hear amateurs saying that. Is that happening?
It is happening. It's not personally, it's not something I think is a fair thing to do. I'm all about listing the house for very close to the market value, and it is up to the seller whether or not they want to hold offers. It's not us saying this is what you're doing. We're not allowed to tell anybody what to do. We make those suggestions. You make that decision for yourself. But no, it's definitely happening that houses are being listed way under market. And that is something that we discuss with our clients as well when we have a buyer. So if they're seeing something, even on my own street, a few months ago, something was listed at $450 and ended up selling for $5. and I thought 450. I was like, wow, but that was pretty close to asking. So it did go over asking, but that was like in January when we had less houses on the market than we do now. So it just totally depends on what you're listing, but it is happening. I don't think it's not a practice that I do personally. We might go like a little bit under maybe
Right.
sometimes here. It just depends on the situation, and it depends on the seller if they're wanting to just sell it and they don't care. Some people don't want to hold offers. They don't want to go through that. They just sell the house. They don't want a bunch of people traipsing through, COVID or not.
Right.
So-
Amy, two more quick questions.
Sure.
And I realize you're not in the business of not making money, so I realize that you have a bit of a bias depending on one way or the other. But the advice that you would give to somebody that would like to own a property in Niagara: wait, don't wait, get in now, and accept the consequences, or wait and also accept the consequences, whatever they may be. You said I'll make it a two-part question. You said that
Sure.
you expected up until the end of the year, perhaps it would ease or normalize. So the question still stands: do we wait or do we not wait?
That is a completely personal choice.
Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
It's there's no it totally depends on the situation. If somebody, well, I'll give you an example. I had first-time buyers that is actually a good friend of mine. It's her son and his girlfriend. Okay, so we started looking around the beginning of February. They had a budget. They had a decent budget, and in conversations between me and them, me trying to gauge how serious they are, and do they really want this? Are they ready even for home ownership, period? And it didn't quite seem that they were. So I said, well, maybe never mind that. I mean, they're priced out of the market now, unfortunately, but they weren't ready anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but I am, of course, I hope everyone's in the business, in whatever business they're doing, to provide good service, to get some money and respect and referrals back in return. But for personally, I've talked people out of buying and selling as well. If I don't feel they're ready, or maybe their marriage is in trouble and they're like, we're getting a divorce, come and sell the house. I'm not like, okay.
Oh, that's
like,
scary.
that's not how I operate my business at all.
Yeah.
But
All right.
For different reasons. If people want to get in and they're ready to buy, then my advice would be buy a house and get in before you're priced out, because it's changing by the week. It's crazy.
It is. And thank you for helping us maybe try to sort out the craziness. Amy, Layton, Royal LePage. Appreciate your time
problem.
today. Have yourself a
No
great
problem.
Easter.
You too, Lee, and Kevin, thanks a lot. And stay safe, you guys.
All right. Yeah,
Stay
you
safe,
too.
everyone.
Bye. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
And in case you're wondering, we just kind of hooked up with Amy because Kevin's worked with her before on other things. It wasn't from a standpoint of trying to promote any particular agent or company or anything of that nature. It's just you got to pick. If you want to have a topic, you got to pick somebody to talk to.
You know what,
and
Lee?
somebody we knew. So
support people that support you.
yeah.
I'll stand by that, and the people that support this program. Carlo, Performance Heating and Air. We'll be talking to him shortly.
Yep.
But Simpson's Pharmacy, Verge Insurance, Gales Gas. Next time you're getting close to E and you're driving by a Gales, recognize that they're here in the community. They're employing people in the community. They're employing families that are suffering from COVID and things like this, like lockdowns
Indeed.
and what have you. So
Yeah.
support the people that support you. Amy has supported me personally and professionally in the past. So when I had to reach out to a real estate agent, Amy was top of mind.
And I do also want to take a moment out to run through the rest of our sponsors. Of course, Kevin mentioned Carlo of Performance Heating and Air coming up. Sean Simpson, Simpson's Pharmasave. That is a very important website for you to visit. All you have to do is Google Simpson's Pharmacy and boom, it'll be there, because they have all the information you need about what's going on pharmacy-wise with COVID-19. Verge Insurance Group, covering all of your insurance needs in Niagara, located in Niagara. And also, something I didn't mention earlier was Nick himself at Niagara 411, our partner with content sharing and viewer sharing and participant sharing and et cetera. Nick, it's a cool partnership, and again, we appreciate all this that we're able to do along with you. And again, keep up to date with what's going on at Gales Kevin's right there on the website, or on the Facebook page rather. And they had to close a couple of stations as well because of the COVID thing, just to try to be as streamlined and as economically efficient as possible. There is nobody that is immune to this thing. Nobody. And in some way or other, we have all been affected. Obviously, some more than others. And there's going to be another announcement today, as you can see here by our absolutely perfectly accurate rendition of Premier Ford. There is going to be an announcement. This is the announcement about the announcement coming up at 1:30 this afternoon.
Are you sure it's not the announcement to announce
that there's going to be an announcement? I don't know. If we find out, we'll announce that.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Lee, people can kind of see it behind you, but I think it's of note. Here, let's throw in the
It's
street
beginning
view
to look a lot like Christmas.
What is going on out there on St. Paul?
Everywhere, on April. Well, this is Mother Nature's April Fool's joke. That's what it is.
The weather's covering you up there, Lee.
Yeah, I know. And somebody busted a window in my office down the street. That's not good. I don't need flow-through ventilation this early in the season. It was cozy in there right up until then. So,
And look, we got some empty spots available for you here at Fiddler's. We have had some people come in, but last chance. I encourage people to get out and support the restaurant industry. It seems that the rug's going to be pulled out from under them in the next 24 hours. They're going to be, I don't want to say shut down, but let's be honest. If all you're doing is curbside pickup, you're pretty much shut down. Your chances of profitability are close to zero. So get out today, because it is expected that the new restrictions will go into place 12:01 a.m. on Saturday. So you've got the rest of today and tomorrow. Get out and support your local restaurants.
The rumor is we're going gray, and that means services, gyms, and again, we're hammering the restaurants and the barber shops and the hair salons, and it's like, oh, Lordy. And there is that old expression, to give the devil their due, is the fact that this is something that the lead doctors, including the head of health here in Niagara, Dr. Hergy, he's mentioned in the past, and I know he's not a popular fella for the most part, but he has said that if we ease up too early, we're going to go backwards, and that'll make it even worse. And there is some logic to that argument, because just when you get a sense of a little bit of hope, boom, we run into another wall. One of the reasons is that I expect that we're going to hear at 1:30 today is the fact that these variants are now affecting younger people. They are killing younger people. Our ICU units in hospitals are more full than they have been in ages, and sometimes entire families have been admitted to ICUs. Now, what impact directly those scenarios have been felt in Niagara, I do not know. However, these are the things that are making people on the provincial level very nervous.
Now, Lee, if we want to actually investigate this and be completely bored to death, so let's try and keep this short.
Oh yeah, let's bore people.
Dr. Hergy actually held a weekly presser earlier this week.
A presser.
And here we can share some of what he had to say before we get to.
Oh, graphs! I hate these graphs. I can never understand these graphs.
Shifting over to the Niagara story, it's fortunately not quite as grim here in Niagara, at least not yet. With our daily variant numbers, we've actually seen a little bit of a drop over the last few days, where we were getting about 14 variants per day, and we're dropping to about 8 or 9 variants a day now only. It's possible there could be a little bit of a reporting lag, and this number is going to go up a little bit if there's some catch-up reporting of new variant cases by the province. But that is at least a little bit of encouraging news that we're not seeing quite that same sharp increase that the
Wake up,
province
yeah.
of Ontario
All right,
is
thanks.
seeing.
Let's go.
Overall, though, our case counts aren't looking that much better than Ontario.
Kevin, I said dump
These
this,
are our
please.
non-variant.
Dump this, get rid of it.
No, I know, I hear you. I mean, that's why nobody pays attention, right?
Please. Oh.
So,
Just it's paint drying. Paint drying is more exciting. We realize the numbers are important. It's those kinds of numbers that are going to impact what we hear today. But my goodness.
all right, let's get to the good stuff. We got Carlo here.
Carlo is with us. Carlo Zecchini, look at you. Thanks for coming on the program. How you doing?
Good, Lee. How are you?
I am great. You are loud and clear. You're looking as handsome as ever.
that's-
And from Performance Heating and Air. And I guess this is a busy time of year for you guys.
Yeah, actually, we've been quite busy for the last 6 to 8 months. We've been pretty good.
So, talk to us a little bit, give us a little bit of history. First of all, we want to thank you very, very much for being excited about being a part of the program. We're excited to have you as a sponsor here. And in the interest of full disclosure, as part of the sponsorship, we allow you to come on and talk about yourself or whatever the heck it is you want to talk about once every couple of months. And this is it. So tell us a little bit about the DNA and the history of Performance Heating and Air here in Niagara.
Well, I've been in the industry for about 21 years now, working for other companies in the past, and I still kept my relationships open with those companies. So we still work back and forth with each other. I started my business in 2009, and 11 years, and we're going strong. So we mainly operate on honesty and integrity, and customer doesn't need something, we don't sell it. Simple as that.
What run us down quickly the litany of the services. Obviously, it might seem like I'm asking an obvious question, but with the title of your business being Performance Heating and Air, but what do you feel are your core competencies? What you really shine at?
What we really shine at is customer service and just the overall people skills. Everybody has a great experience when they deal with us. I know it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, but you know,
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh, well, in that case, I'm right on cue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do everything, right into pressure vessels, water tanks, boiler systems, in-floor heating. We were going to get into geothermal. That started big about 15 years ago, but then it sort of dwindled off in the area.
Right.
So we didn't go that avenue. It's a very expensive venture. We're just a Niagara-based company, based here in Thorold, and we just love what we do.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to touch on as well is the fact that you and your company have been partners with other organizations in this community for a long time. You're a big supporter of community care, which a lot of us are, which is just wonderful. They do super work, especially in challenging times like these. As well as Crime Stoppers. Tell us about that. That's one of those things that's interesting when you hear that somebody has involved. What is your Crime Stoppers involvement?
Well, what I did was I first started on as just a standard everyday board member. We'd listen to what things we would do for bringing community awareness and ideas and whichever. And I was a new face to the board, so I brought a new look, a new angle at what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And then after that, I graduated up to a little bit of marketing, elder abuse program, which we launched 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's a big need for that, to shine a light on that. And what else were we doing here? So now I'm vice chairman. After 3 years, vice chairman and head of HR and relations.
Well,
so it's really good. We go to all the Ice Dogs games and River Lions games, spread awareness. It's fulfilling.
Crime Stoppers has been around as a national and international organization for a long, long time. And I don't expect you to spout numbers, but I know they have the numbers. So you've seen a really positive impact in your role. Again, as vice chair, you get all the numbers with that organization here. I mean, it is worthwhile. And I guess the thing that people always wonder is it really anonymous? Is it really okay if I give somebody a tip?
You know, I'm really glad you brought that up. I appreciate that. So yes, Crime Stoppers since 1985 have never subscribed to call display. The National Call Center, if you actually have the opportunity to do a tour and go in there, their offices are just, it's just a phone with no keys on it, no anything, no screen. It's just a receiver in a box. The phone rings, they pick it up, they take the information of the crime or the tip, right, and that's it. The second if you're a caller and you call in, you say your name,
yeah,
the dispatcher hangs up the phone.
Is that right?
Yeah, they don't want nothing to do with no names, no phone numbers, no anything.
Wow.
Just facts only. And
okay,
yes, it is 100% anonymous. It always has and always will be.
All right. Having had a little bit of experience with that organization out west, I wanted to get to that point because that is one of those sticky issues that people are still somewhat hesitant about. So thank you for clarifying that and for the work that you do, the volunteer stuff, because that's a big deal in Niagara. It's what makes a community what it is really the volunteerism that happens. A business is one thing, volunteerism is taking it to another level. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you very much for pointing that out. And like I said, my whole family does the same thing too. So we're all volunteers in one way or another. My wife, Jessica, she has to cook a lot of late dinners when I have board meetings. So
question for you, as a professional, there are those of us that are recipients often of people walking through the communities and knocking on our door to try to come in and inspect our heating systems or our water systems or our whatever it is, to try to get into our basement to have a look at our stuff or whatever. Are any of them legitimate?
Absolutely 100% not. And I appreciate you doing your homework before you got on the line with me here. I think it was January 2019. It was passed by the Ontario government that says door-to-door solicitation must stop. I'm not sure if Bell Canada has a loophole to do that because I still see them out there once in a while. But as far as our industry goes, no. The gas company will never show up to your door unless there's an absolute emergency. And if you look out your window, if it's an emergency, you will see fire and police.
Okay,
so,
all right.
With one of those fancy little neckties or a beautiful golf shirt, don't live in your home because you're just asking for trouble.
So neither you or any of your comrades in your industry will knock on my door and try to sell me a furnace or a water meter or a water heater or anything like that?
Absolutely not. And actually, we have a protocol and system now where the customer gets a text notification when we're coming, and they actually get a photo of the technician from our company arriving right on their cell phone.
All right, thank you. Thanks for confirming that, because I mean that would have been my thinking, because some of these people are really, really good, at what they do.
Them at my house, Lee. I've had them at my house, and the guy was really good. If I didn't know my stuff, he would have been coming into my house.
Is there anything else that anybody watching this broadcast right now should know when they need somebody from your industry, whether it's you or one of your friendly competitors here in Niagara? Is there anything else they should look out for or that they need to know?
Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of good HVAC companies here in Niagara. A lot are very respected and well known. But as far as the other ones go that I really don't know, if you're going to hire any professional, have it be HVAC, plumbing, electrician, anything like that, check for licenses, do your due diligence as a homeowner. You're having these people come into your home. This is your castle.
Right.
You make sure everything's done legally, properly, make sure they have insurance, liability insurance, contractor insurance, registration numbers, everything. And you have the right as a homeowner to ask.
Okay.
For service vans, all our technicians have photocopies of their licenses and our insurance policies and our BSIB. So if a customer asks, we can present right on site.
Now, on the other side of things, one more question just occurred to me. If, for some reason, someone has, after the fact, something they're concerned about, is there an association or is there a regulatory body or something like that that people have access to if they have a problem that they can't get solved?
Absolutely. For electrical, there would be the ESA. You can find all these on Google. Just Google search whatever product you have. So electrical inspection, HVAC inspection, and you can get the regulatories like TSSA, Technical Standards Safety Authority. I answer to, and I follow their guidelines, and I'm governed by them. So if you're not happy with your technician or something you feel is very weary or you feel unsafe, if it's drastic, please call 911. Fire department's there to help you, and then they will take the proper channels to assist you.
That is that's great to know, and because it's always good to know that people have a security blanket if they need one. And we really appreciate you coming on and telling us about that stuff. And Carlo, I can't say enough about how much Kevin and myself and Nick and the other sponsors here at the Niagara 411 Live with Sterry that you support the program, and it's just awesome that you're here. We really appreciate your participation and coming on today. It's been great.
Well, thank you for those kind words. It was awesome being here, and believe me, the sponsorship of your show is all my pleasure.
Well, keep that in mind because season 3 is not that far away.
I'm there.
Okay. Take care, Carlo. Appreciate it. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you too as well.
All right. Take care. Sorry. Shameless plug. Shameless. What a nice guy. I met him before, but I've never had a chance to actually have much of a chat with Carlo, and it's great that we have loyal Niagarans on the show as sponsors, community care supporters, as well as, of course, Crime Stoppers that we talked about, and the volunteerism that exists with Niagara businesses is huge. And we were talking about the impact of the restrictions that are caused by things like COVID, and we're going to hear more about that at 1:30 today with the announcement from Doug Ford. But that's something else that the community loses when businesses are severely curtailed in their ability to do business, and that is the volunteer efforts and the time that they and their employees are able to, and dollars that they're able to give back to the communities that they serve. And it goes back to that ripple effect again. And it's not that, believe me, I am not an anti-masker. I get the numbers. I see it and I understand it. But it takes an awful lot of intestinal fortitude. It takes an awful lot of faith to continue to lock yourself down, and even more than that, if you are running one of those frontline businesses that are impacted immediately when something like this happens, like the restaurants and the other service industries, like the hair salons and the barbers and those places. Boy, it takes an awful lot of faith, Kevin, and you're one of them, to toe the line and be true to your school in all this. It's not an easy thing.
No, it's difficult for everyone, and everybody has varying degrees of difficulty, but I don't think the last year has been easy on anyone. I'm kind of a silver lining person. Would love to hear from people about their opinions of what Doug Ford has planned for 1:30. Do you work in the restaurant, the service, the hair salon, the personal grooming industry? the massage industry, anything like that, where it's like one-on-one close contact. How do you feel about this, about the rug being pulled out from you once again? We'd love for you to join the program. We just had Carlo. I mean, he joined the same way that Amy joined, the same way that you can.
Yep.
And just click on the link. It's right there in the post. And when you come in the Zoom room, we'll see you there. And you can share your thoughts, your opinions. That's what this show's about. Like, Lee, we don't want to talk to, for example, here's the one I always use. If we want to find out what's happening in the ICU, I don't want to talk to the head of nursing. The head of nursing is some suit that's sitting up in an office that probably hasn't been in an emergency room in years. I want to talk to a nurse. I want to talk to a frontline worker. I want to talk to the person in Niagara that goes to work in these frontline conditions 12 hours a day, then goes home and has to juggle and balance their family life the way that everybody else is. Those are the people we want to hear from.
I agree, and the reason that I'm smiling is you just reminded me of a news director consultant in the media business many, many, many years ago. And it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek statement that he made. He said, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. And I guess the media has, the so-called mainstream media has turned that into a mantra over the last number of years. But where he was going with it was, if there is something happening in a neighborhood, for example, and we see this on Niagara 411 all the time, unfortunately, about the activity of our firefighters. There's a fire here, there's a fire there, or there's a car crash here or there, or whatever, and our hearts go out to those people that are experiencing those things. But if you're the neighbor, one of the great things that good news people always used to do when we had news people, we don't often have them now, but when we had news people, they would not necessarily go to the scene, they would go to the neighbor and ask the neighbor what they saw. And this is kind of, and sometimes you got really a wonderful story or a wonderful perspective on what's happening with whatever is going on at the moment. And that's kind of what this is about. We're asking the neighbors, and you're all the neighbors of what's happening in Niagara. And the concept of this show is just that. We are talking about, hopefully, things that are important to Niagarans, but not just necessarily the people that are at the center of the discussion. Not necessarily the politicians or the fire chiefs or the police chiefs, etc. We want to talk to the neighbors, and the neighbors are you. And that's what we're here for. And that's what that link on the Facebook post is for us to talk with the neighbors, so we can hear from you what's going on, hear from you what the feelings are about what is going on, etc., etc. You get the point. All right. So we are going to be, as we've talked about, and as you can see right up here with our expert rendition of Ontario's Premier Doug Ford, he's supposedly taking to his podium at 1:30 today to make an announcement that I have a feeling we're not going to be happy about. So that's happening, but we're gonna do it here. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna stay live, and we'll give you an opportunity to watch that. We will also give you an opportunity afterward to have a chat here about that if you have any interest in doing so. And Kevin, we have time to do something that is really on a positive side. I know we've been a little bit dark today on some things, because I think that's the way a lot of people are feeling. We've got some cloudy skies. Thank goodness the snow flurries have decided to abate. Mother Nature's April Fool's joke is now concluded, we hope. But it is kind of a cool, dark, cloudy, dismal sort of day. It's got that kind of feel to it. Not that we want to bring you down anywhere. Now we want to bring you up. Now, how many times those of you in Niagara have been driving along the Niagara Gorge through Niagara Falls and driven by that big power generating station and said to yourself, man, I would really like to go in that. I would really like to see what's in that place. Well, you're going to be able to do that. Niagara's newest attraction opens and will be active as of July the 1st, if I am not mistaken, Kevin. And you're going to have an opportunity to actually tour that massive power generator. Sir Adam Beck, that's the name of it, correct, Kev? Am I right?
I don't know that it's the Sir Adam Beck
it's
one.
not the Sir Adam Beck
I
one?
believe it's the one that's been decommissioned, but it's right there
but
as you get beyond Table Rock.
We have a video.
Yeah, the architecture of it is incredible, and for years people have been like, I want to go in there. I want to get in there. And hold on, I'm just pulling up the video here, Lee. So you're going to have to buy me some time.
Yeah, okay, I'll buy you some time. Now, also, after the announcement, I hope the announcement's on time, because sometimes they get a little bit late, politicians' schedules being what they are. But hopefully it'll be on time at 1:30. After which, we are going to bring you our musical close. We're just extending the length of the program, so we're still going to take you out with a musical rendition of a song that is local. Gravelly James has been on the program before. We're going to bring him back because he has a new song out, and it's very, very relevant to what's going on in the news today around the world, but mainly, once again, unfortunately, in the United States, as there has been the third mass shooting in less than a couple of weeks as of yesterday. And he has a new song. It's called Shoot 'Em Down. And Gravelly James is going to be joining us to perform that brand new release for us after we do the media conference.
Let me just see, getting an update. Canadian Niagara Power, Lee.
Canadian Niagara Power, thank you.
Canadian Niagara Power.
I knew the Sir Adam Beck thing was wrong, but it was sort of sitting there on the tip of my tongue, so I had to say it.
And here we go. We can all watch this together.
Yeah, okay.
And kind of.
So this video is released by the Niagara Parks Commission, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Okay. Niagara Parks Power Station.
We're standing today in a very special place in the heart of Queen Victoria Park in Niagara Parks. From the moment our guests step in, they're going to be in awe of the scope and the scale of this new attraction. The fact that everything is still intact in this location, it makes it unique. And I want you to step back to the turn of the 20th century when there's competition going on to build hydroelectric power plants in the Niagara corridor to harness the power of the Niagara River. So here, for this location, hundreds of workers basically doing an open pit construction. They're using horse-drawn carriages, lots of dynamite. So you can imagine for over a 4-year period, this construction activity going on, which led to the completion of what became really one of Ontario's first green energy projects and led to the industrialization of Southern Ontario and Western New York. A year ago, we worked with the Ontario Heritage Trust to host Doors Open, and we had great success. We sold out in less than half an hour of the tickets that we had for that particular weekend in October, and it gave us that confidence that there was a huge interest in this building, in industrial heritage, and in the story of hydroelectric power generation that we're going to share with our guests when we open on July 1st, 2021.
Phase 1, our guests will experience this gorgeous generator hall full of new exhibits, interpretive elements. We'll do group tours, and also a really wonderful culinary and retail offering featuring some of the artifacts that we pulled from the plant. As we move into Phase 2, we will be opening up an elevator down to the thrust deck level, which is a level below the main floor. We take them down 160 feet. It will be the same direction that the water had traveled, then return to the Niagara River. So as they walk 0.7 kilometers through a very interesting tunnel and exit at the end, they're going to see an amazing view of the river and Niagara Falls as they look off to their right and left. The nighttime experience is our immersive multimedia experience, and this is going to be an absolutely spectacular show. This experience is going to be developed for all audience types, and really guests are going to watch as this dormant plant comes to life again. They're going to watch through video mapping and projection mapping that the turbines and the power plant starts to hum. Earlier this year, our ministry challenged all of us as agencies to see if we could work together. So we were very excited to bring Science North into this project. Clearly their expertise and experience with what they offer up in the Sudbury area would be a great fit for us. So we've really enjoyed working with them, helping us bring to life 3 of the very key exhibits that we will be offering in 2021.
One of the key aspects of our approach to exhibit development is really being collaborative with all the people that are involved. So working with the Niagara Parks team to understand their goals for the project, speaking to past operators and plant personnel to get their input to be sure we're authentic to the experience. We really hope that every visitor that comes in here is, first of all, awed by the grandeur of the building and the existing machinery, and that when they interact with our exhibits, that they really take away a moment of appreciation for the underlying innovation and what this really meant to Canada and electricity generation.
Niagara Parks is at the heart of Canada's premier leisure tourism destination, and we are very proud to be opening the next new attraction, not only for Niagara Parks, but also for Niagara. This will be a catalyst to drive new demand generation to Niagara and to Ontario, starting in July of 2021.
I think that is one of the biggest deals that I have seen to unfold here in Niagara in many a year. A spectacular place, and instead of knocking something down and putting something modern in its place, like might be an option in some places, we're championing the incredible history, the incredible legacy that power generation has left here in Niagara. That is so, so cool. So congratulations and thumbs up to anybody that had anything to do with making that happen. That is just so. As someone that is a Niagara Falls native, born and raised here, went away and came back to end up being a permanent resident once again. That's very exciting. It is just off the charts exciting for me. I can't wait to go through it. I'll be one of the first people through it. That is just so cool. All right. A reminder, Kevin, I don't know if they've given you an update on how the timing is going for the announcement, because we're making the announcement here about the announcement.
Yeah, if people see me kind of looking at my crotch here, that's what I'm doing. I got a couple of phones here. I'm monitoring the press conference scheduled for 1:30. Very rarely do these things actually happen like right on time.
Hardly
to
ever.
the minute.
Hardly ever.
We'll be monitoring it, and as soon as we get a feed that we can share with you, we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Some interesting things that have developed over the last week, and we were attempting to have someone to chat with about this, but perhaps by next week this will happen. An interesting thing that's happened in Niagara, well, I say interesting, unfortunate thing, is both major communities, Niagara Falls and when I say major, I don't want to offend any other municipalities, it's just the fact the higher population areas, Niagara Falls as well as St. Catharines. Their YMCAs announced that they are going to be closing permanently. In Niagara Falls, of course, it's the McBain Center where they've been having the big vaccine events, and in St. Catharines, it's right there on YMCA Drive. They even have a name for the street that they're on, which is right by where Costco was. But you know where it is, just off Lake Street. And closing permanently. Now, of all the things that have happened during the COVID period, we've had some businesses close permanently, yes. Smaller businesses, etc. And I can understand the fact that there are a lot of things that would have to be curtailed at places like YMCAs. It just seems to me that a community organization like a YMCA is, now maybe I'm living in the past, I grant you that, but the YMCA always used to be a staple. That was a place of comfort and safety, and a place that you could go when you had no place else to go. And that's how the YMCA seemed to me, because that's how it was formed. And I realize that it has changed and morphed over time. But my point being, with the situation as it is right now, to close temporarily, yep, sure. To shut it down for a couple of months, yeah, okay, got it. But to close permanently and look to sell buildings and like literally get out of Dodge is something that, frankly, I find horrible. And in St. Catharines, there has been a small group of people rise up, members, and try to put together a plan that would be supported by other members or other people in the community that wanted to support it, and to attempt to keep the thing open for, I think they said something like another 5 years or whatever. And we did reach out to those folks, and they got in touch with us just a little bit late to be on the program today, but hopefully we'll have an opportunity to get an update on that initiative by next week.
Now, Lee, speaking of, I came across this week. Does this jar any memories for people? An old YMCA in St. Catharines?
Look at that.
YMCA and YWCA is how
Yeah.
it's labeled.
Yeah.
Do you remember that building, Lee?
I remember the building, yeah. I remember seeing it. I don't think it was operating as a YMCA when I saw it, but I remember the building. That's cool. But wasn't that always your sort of take on the YMCA? I mean, that's what the village people sang about. If you you take away the headdress and the funky costumes and and all that stuff, the lyrics of the song are about the YMCA's role in the community and looking out for people and being a refuge and all of that stuff that I always think of when I think of the Y. It just seems absolutely an anathema to me that it would close permanently. And to the group that's trying to keep it operative and resurrect it, so to speak, in St. Catharines, good luck to you, kudos to you, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with you before next week's show in time to get you on and chat about how it's going. So it's good. All right, I do want to thank the people that have been on the program today, and of course Carlo Zecchini of Performance Heating and Air. Thanks for being here. Just a super chance to have a meeting with you and find out more about your business, and thanks for all the community support you and your business do as well. And don't forget, it is annual inspection time. That's something we didn't talk about, but I just had it in my notes here. If you have any sort of HVAC system in your house, and I'd be surprised here in Canada if you don't, this is the time of year to have somebody in to inspect it and have a look around. All right. If you don't already have a plan with somebody, reach out maybe to Carlo at Performance Heating and Air, and they'll come look after you. All right. Gales Gas Bars, thank you very much for continuing to be the key prime title sponsor of this program, fueling us since our inception at the end of 2020. We moved here to Fiddler's Poorhouse. We ramped it up from its earlier iteration, and we launched Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry, and Gales jumped right on board as a title sponsor. So thank you to Jessica Friesen and her gang for doing that. Sean Simpson of Simpson's Pharmacies in Virgil and the Apothecary in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Always a pleasure to have you hooked up here with the program. Mark and Blake Shirk, Verge Insurance Group, and all of the people that represent that organization around Niagara. Thank you guys. This is a third or fourth week that you've been with us, and you're still with us. So for that, we thank you. And we'll be chatting with all these people as the program evolves. Kevin, what's the latest on our timing? Any idea?
There are some live webcams that I'm monitoring, but right now, nothing doing. Don't know where this press conference is taking place. My assumption is Toronto, and again, we're awaiting the official announcement. Yesterday, there was an announcement that he would make an announcement. Then it all seemed to leak late last night and into this morning about what is going to be unrolled in the announcement, and it's some sort of modified shutdown.
It's a mess,
lockdown.
is what it is.
Schools remain open, restaurants close. No contact between households, outdoor gatherings limited to 5 people. So pretty much it's gray with the exception of the schools are going to remain open. But of course, my kids were instructed to bring home everything. All of their possessions are coming home with them today at the end of their school day. And I know some other school boards have also sent out emails to parents instructing likewise. The assumption is they're going back to school next week for at least 4 days before the new spring break.
But we still don't know.
But it's a mess. I think the best way to summarize it, it's a mess. I don't know what the rules are going to be anymore.
I said it first.
Yeah, you did.
I said mess.
So it's just, gosh, and we're waiting in it. Of course, when it happens, we will carry it for you live. Oh, here's a little bit of a good news while we're waiting. Lee, I consider this good news.
Okay.
As life is kind of
Good news
moving
is
forward.
good.
Let's see if I can.
What do you got now? While you're doing that, Amy Layton, thank you for joining us, realtor with Royal LePage. Kevin has done some work with Amy before, so we said, hey, let's talk about these wacky prices and the hot real estate market that's happening in Niagara. And it's not just here. It's not just here. And with the surveys that have been released over the last few weeks, it's going to get hotter and hotter. Niagara-on-the-Lake was listed as the 6th, I believe, most desirable place to live in Canada in a survey that was done a few weeks ago. And just last week, it was on another list of one of those best places to live or best places to go or buy or whatever the
Friendliest.
heck.
It was friendliest.
Friendliest.
Yeah,
That was it.
friendliest last
Yeah.
week. And I know Nick posted that on Niagara 411.
That was it.
So, Lee, even though we had some pretty heavy flurries there about half an hour ago on St.
Yeah.
Paul, nothing reminds you that summer's around the corner, then the start of baseball, and we can peek in there.
There's the Blue Jays,
yeah, there you
1-0 in. They're playing in the Bronx. Their first game of the regular season. They got a couple on base, and they're leading 1-0.
Yeah, hey, how about that?
How about that?
Let's go Blue Jays.
How about that?
Can we get that little, hey,
I miss the.
let's go Blue Jays.
I miss the pretzels. Have you ever been to Yankee Stadium?
Never.
Oh man. Well, I guess they're in the new stadium now, but I was in the old one.
Kudos to them, though, for pretty much recreating the stadium.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you got the guys in the back there on the cots, and they got the big pretzels and the mustard. And then you can take your pretzels with the mustard, and you can go into the sports shop and you buy a jacket.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sounds like you've been there.
I've been there a couple times.
So again, if people have tuned in and they're waiting for the Doug Ford announcement to officially announce how our lives are going to be governed for the next 28 days, it seems, we're still waiting on that.
I'm jumping in here because we got a chance to do something. We were talking sports earlier, and this brings us back local again. The Julia Hope Cup. You were talking about the fact that you've actually been on a team that has won the Julia Hope Cup.
I believe I'm a two-time champion of the Julia Hope Cup.
You are a two-time champion of the Julia Hope Cup. What a great history and local story this is. And Kevin, of course, I'll let him tell it because he knows, having been involved with this, much more about this than I do.
Right. So a lot of people are familiar with Julia's story. We're talking Julia Turner, who passed away. Gosh, I don't want to say, but it's 9-10 years ago, maybe longer than that. My apologies. Right. Julia was a Welland resident, was 16 years old, 16 years old, passed away from a brain tumor. Her family ingrained in Welland and Niagara. Her father, Paul Turner, was a longtime teacher, now retired at Notre Dame. He's got family. They've just got their tentacles everywhere around Welland and the Niagara region. I've gotten to know the family over the years, mainly through hockey. I went down every year that I could to Chippewa Park to support them and support the family. But of course, COVID is, taking a bite out of everything,
absolutely,
including the plans for Julia's Hope Cup, which has been a major fundraiser over the years as her parents, Paul and Tina, continue to give back in her honor. And there was a video that they put out, I think, just yesterday. So let's see if we can share the video. And again, these are Julia's parents. This is Paul and Tina. So here we go.
Hi, Paul and Tina.
On December 23rd, 2011, our daughter Julia Turner passed away from a brain tumor. Although she was only 15 years old, she really made an impact in this world. And it was because of how much she cared for people, especially the vulnerable and the young children.
Julia, for several years, helped us with a pond hockey tournament at Chippewa Park. It raised funds for the Hope Center. 2 months after her passing, in a blizzard in the year 2012, family, friends, and the Welland community came together in the memory of Julia to start the first annual Julia's Hope.
This year would have been the 9th annual Julia's Hope Cup. But because of COVID-19, we were unable to have our fun-filled carnival. Julia would have still wanted us to do something to help the Hope Center.
So the Hope Center, the idea coming from Marcy Clarkson, came up with the idea of an escape room fundraiser. Please see juliashopecup.ca for all the details. Either put a team in or just donate, but it would be great if you could contribute in some way.
We are disappointed that we can't get together at the park this year for the 9th annual Julia's Hope Cup, but we're confident that we're going to be back next year. And in the meantime, we appreciate your continued support as we help out the Hope Center in Julia's memory. Thank you so much for your continued kindness and generosity.
Wow. And that was a little quick shot of Julia there at
Sorry about that. I would have left that on the screen.
No, that's that's fine.
But yeah, touching story, and again, you know, making good of a terrible and tragic situation. And my heart goes out to the entire Turner family, and you see Tina and Paul there, and wishing that I could be on the frozen ponds of Chippewa Park. But again, COVID robbing us of that opportunity. And over the years, it has turned into kind of a carnival festival atmosphere, fun for the whole family. While some of the people are playing hockey on the pond, other families are tobogganing down the slopes of Chippewa Park. There's usually hot chocolate, there's food going on, there's some prizes. It's a great community event in the honor of a terrific family and a girl gone too soon in Julia Turner. So,
but
in all sincerity.
it did not shut down the movement, and obviously it did not dampen the enthusiasm of Julia's parents, Paul and Tina.
And Lee, I'll give you an update here on what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, this is the CHCH feed. I'm going to look for an official Government of Ontario feed, but they'll go live when the event goes live. CHCH has been live since 1:30, expecting the announcement, and as you can see there, you know, a lot of people are watching that feed, and we'll pick up a feed for you and share it with you when the time is right. But nothing doing right now from Toronto, and I think we're going to stick with this as long as we can. Because,
we'll see.
We
I mean,
if
it gets ridiculously long, then we'll pull the pin, as they say, and put this thing to bed. But it's always chaos when you are behind the scenes at any one of these events, especially political events, because they're constantly, by they, I mean assistants and advisors and communication experts and all these people and whoever are the people from the actual venue, security and all this other stuff. Who's going to talk when about what, and there's always changing data coming in, and you can bet your bottom dollar if what we're hearing is true about what the announcement is going to be. If we can believe the announcements about the announcement, then I will announce that people aren't going to be happy about the announcement. It's going to be the only people that will be happy about it probably are the doctors, and that I understand. And the nurses, and the support people, and the ICU people, and those that are on those front lines of the healthcare system will probably welcome it, and rightfully so, if the numbers back everything up, which it probably does. I will say to that group of people, hopefully it's good for you, because there are a whole lot of other people that it's not good for. And we don't want to stick our head in the proverbial sand, do the ostrich thing, and pretend this isn't happening, because it is happening. And the announcement that I heard this morning from numerous venues is the fact that these variants are resulting in a stronger strain that's affecting younger people and killing younger people and putting more people in the ICU than the previous normal, for the lack of a better word, original is a better word, strain of COVID-19. So this third wave is nothing apparently to be sneezed at. There's another terrible metaphor.
Well, Lee, let me save you from that and throw you a lifeline. I think this is something.
Thanks a lot, Kev.
I'm playing both sides here just to avoid any
Sure you
potential
are.
criticism. I 100% agree with the doctors to an extent, but here's what's puzzling to me, and I think a lot of other people as well. We're in a province where for the last couple of months we've been rolling out vaccinations to the most vulnerable. We've been doing a really good job of that. Here in Niagara, numbers above 80% of the people over the age of 80. We're getting that down to 75.
Yep.
On the horizon, 70, 65. And these are the people that are most at risk for serious illness or death. If that's the situation, and most of these people are now vaccinated and the vaccines are working, why are we so concerned about the increase in numbers?
This is a good question, Kevin.
I understand that there would increase in numbers, but if we're seeing an increase in numbers in a demographic where people don't get sick
Yeah.
or severely ill, why is that such a concern when we only assume that in the months ahead, and I'm talking 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road, that everybody will be vaccinated?
And that may be one of the reasons why this media conference has been delayed, because somebody might be trying to figure out how to answer that question.
Absolutely.
It's a natural question. If we're vaccinating all these people, we're supposed to be protecting ourselves against this kind of thing. Why can't we just kind of keep going?
Yeah, like I'm wondering if we're seeing a rise in number. Well, okay, that's because we're doing things, but is the rise in numbers amongst a group of people that aren't really going to fall very ill?
All right, are we trying to get into the logic zone now?
You're right.
Are we actually trying to talk about logic here?
I'll tell you my own personal stories here, and a lot of people reach to their personal stories, and this is not the entire breadth of the story, I understand, but so far, in the last year, and again, I'm not casting shade or dispersion, but this is my experience. I've known 2 people that have tested positive for COVID-19, and both of them were false positives.
False positive?
That's it. I've known 2 people, and so far, both people I know that have tested positive were retested days later and were retested negative. That's my experience. So when you're looking for people like me to get all up in arms and say, you're right, we got to lock everything down, I go, well, in my personal experience, this is what I'm seeing. And I know that's not the entirety of the story because I can read and I can see what's going on and I understand the reports. But there are a lot of people like me that are sharing these experiences and saying, why do we have to completely change our lives? Then this is what I'm seeing.
Should we wear masks? Yeah, sure, why not? Should we continue to wear masks even after this thing is supposedly quote-unquote over? Yeah, probably it wouldn't be a bad idea. Take a lesson from the Chinese and the Japanese and those people they've been wearing masks on their streets and in open air for years now. Sure, let's protect ourselves. Should we sanitize our hands and wash them often and kind of try to keep our distance from folks? Yeah, sure, why not? Makes good sense. A lot of the carryovers from the COVID practices will be good carryovers to stay with us, no doubt. But I don't know. Again, you hate to be a naysayer and sort of be the salmon swimming downstream instead of upstream, like some of the medical people are doing. It's a very, very complex, convoluted situation, and all of us would like to have the right answer. We'd like to say, hey, I'm right, you're wrong. But you can't really say that. And to go to Kevin's story, it's personal experience. I was trying to think while you were saying that, Kevin, whether I knew anybody locally that has actually had COVID-19. And I don't think I do. I don't think I know anyone. I know one person that had COVID-19. That was in California, a relative of mine in California, which is totally irrelevant to anything going on here. But that doesn't mean that, again, it doesn't mean that the numbers lie. It seems to me, though, Kevin, and you can disagree with me if you like, but it's the outbreak areas that are the ones that the homes, the long-term care facilities, the homes for the elderly, where the areas where there are people that actually cohabit in large numbers, and places like that where it's almost impossible to stop the spread. It seems to me that those sorts of places, maybe apartment buildings, I don't know, but are the hotbeds for these big things. The outbreak areas, I guess, is how I would describe it.
I think a lot of people are going to reach their breaking point pretty soon.
Well, I think the breaking point's going to be this afternoon.
Could be.
I really believe that there is going to be significant. If they go ahead with the plans as we think they are going to be, I believe the fallout will be significant. And I actually believe that's one of the reasons why we're delayed.
I think so, yeah.
I think they are even now, I would guess, that they're even now massaging the message.
I would agree. Do you think there's anything to the point that, and we've seen a lot of this, I mean, this news leaked in the last 24 hours,
yes,
worse than a 90-year-old rusty pail.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Do you think that's done on purpose so that the government gets an opportunity to gauge reaction?
Some feedback?
Yeah, get a little feedback.
Absolutely.
So do you think that's what they're dealing with now?
It's not an accidental leak.
Yeah, the 1:30 news conference all of a sudden is becoming a 1:45 or a 2 o'clock news conference as they read comments and gauge reaction.
Yeah, because there's somebody saying, "Hey, we got we had to rethink where we're going with this thing." Now, this is just conjecture with me and my close personal friend Kevin. But I would not be surprised, knowing how things go on behind the scenes, I would not be surprised that they are attempting to massage the message even as we speak.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I hate to CNN this thing, because that's what they do. Everybody's full of conjecture and.
And again, just to show people, Lee, I mean, here you go. We're waiting, and again, I will try to find an official government feed rather than the CHCH feed. But I mean, there it is, CHCH. They have people waiting as well, waiting since 1:30 to just get the latest update and find out what our lives are going to be for the next 2 months or next month anyway. Just gosh, it's difficult. Lee. It's hard for me to run a business. As an entrepreneur, it's hard for me to run my business. It's hard for me to be profitable. Think about all the restaurants, all the hair salons, and all the businesses that are renting and have to make rent on the first of every month. And it's blood from a stone at some point. And you mentioned the old GM about the trickle-down effect that every restaurant employs, not just the people that work in the restaurant, but the people that deliver the food, the people that deliver the beer, the people that make the beer and the liquor.
The obvious impact is the tip of the iceberg.
Okay,
the iceberg itself is
so we might have something
massive. We may have some progress. And again, we're staying on longer than we normally would because of this, because we are trying to, of course, inform Niagara about what's going to affect Niagara. And we figured, since the announcement is scheduled to happen at 1:30, and that's usually our sign-off time, what the heck, we'll hang around for a little while longer. We have no better place to be. And we are the harbingers of our own fate. We are the masters of our domain. And we can stay on until the cows come home, or until the Ford comes out, as the case may be. Here we go.
The variants of concern are spreading rapidly. This is a new pandemic. We're now fighting a new enemy. The new variants are far more dangerous than before. They spread faster, and they do more harm than the virus we were fighting last year. Younger people are ending up in the hospital. And with these new variants, the risk of ICU admissions is 2 times higher. The risk of death is 1.5 times higher. And today, we have 2,557 confirmed new cases of COVID-19 in the province. We're now seeing a nearly...
I'm just moving over to the official government of Ontario feed.
Okay.
Cases of COVID-19 in the province. We're now seeing a nearly 14% increase in hospitalizations, with COVID-19 patients in ICU increasing dramatically. In fact, we've never had more Ontarians in intensive care than we do today. We're working around the clock to build out our hospital capacity. We've added 3,100 new hospital beds since the start of this pandemic. Cordelucci Vaughan Hospital has been providing pandemic overflow for months now. Right now, we're dedicating an additional 70 beds at the Toronto Congress Centre. These new beds will help more alternate level of care patients out of hospital so we can free beds for COVID patients. And our vaccination rollout plan is well underway. We're making steady progress. To date, 2.3 million vaccines have been administered in Ontario. We have more pharmacies, primary care settings, and mobile clinics coming online every day. In fact, just this morning, a large shipment of AstraZeneca vaccines landed in Ontario. And we announced another 350 pharmacies will offer vaccines across the province starting on Saturday. This brings our total to over 700 pharmacies offering vaccines, and we're ready to ramp up to 1,500 once we have more vaccines. And right now, the millions of additional vaccines we need, they're on the horizon. They're weeks away. We know that they're coming in mass amounts starting soon. And that's how we know that things will get better very, very soon. But the bottom line is that we need more time. We need to close the gap between where we are today and where we will be with the millions of vaccines we're expecting by June. We need more time for our vaccine program to take hold. But we are in a desperate race right now against an extremely, extremely aggressive and fast-moving virus. We need more runway to allow our vaccination rollout to get where we need it. And that means we need to take action now. And it's important to understand that this situation is not unique to Ontario. We're seeing provinces across the country and also many states face the same challenges. They're all dealing with the effects of a third wave and a dangerous new variants. So please understand, this decision was not made lightly. I know the toll these restrictions continue to take on people's mental health and well-being. And please understand, folks, this decision weighs extremely heavy on me. I know what this means for people, to be here over a year into this pandemic. It's frustrating and it's very, very difficult. But we've come so far. We have sacrificed too much to throw in the towel so close to things getting better. And let's be clear, the cost of inaction is simply too high. We know for a fact that the stay-at-home order, the restrictions we have introduced thus far, have saved thousands of lives. But I know what this means for businesses and people who continue to sacrifice. And you have my word. We will be there for you, and we will have your back. Ontario Small Business Support Grants, which provides up to $20,000 to help eligible small businesses, remains open. During the difficult period, we've extended the deadline for applications through April 7th, and I strongly urge all eligible businesses to apply. And right now, we're providing another $1.7 billion for a second round of payments to help our small businesses. That means up to $40,000 for eligible businesses. And I promise you this, we will get through this, and we will get our businesses back on their feet. I also want to take a moment to talk about our schools. We're doing everything we can to keep our kids in class. This is a top priority. We have made historic investments and introduced the strongest school safety plan in the entire country. But as always, we will closely monitor the situation and not hesitate to act to protect our kids and your families. And as I stand here, we're only hours away from the Easter long weekend. I want everyone to know that there's some activities permitted with safety measures in place. Indoor religious services will be allowed at 15% capacity. But we must, and I emphasize this, we must all avoid social gatherings. I know many of you were hoping to celebrate this important holiday with family and friends. But again, I'm asking everyone to only gather with your immediate household. Because, my friends, I want us to have a good summer. And these steps, the next 4 weeks, are our best chance to save lives and to make sure this summer we can get things open and get back to our lives. We will get through this if we all work together. And I can assure you, brighter days are on the horizon. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Elliott.
Where was the actual announcement, though? We were waiting for them to come
Thank you,
online.
Premier. Ontario is in the midst of the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, just like many other jurisdictions across the country and around the world. This is being driven by COVID-19 variants that are much more transmissible and carry a higher risk of death, hospitalization, and ICU admission. Just in the past week, we have seen a drastic surge in case numbers and COVID-19 hospitalizations all across the province. The number of variant cases is increasing at an alarming rate. And now the latest modeling data shows that these trends will continue, putting our healthcare system at risk and threatening to overwhelm our hospitals if additional measures are not taken. Over the past year, our government has had to take swift action and make difficult decisions, and it is time to do so again. On the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health and with the support of public health experts, our government is enacting a province-wide emergency brake shutdown that will last for at least a month in all public health unit regions. This means restricting indoor organized public events and social gatherings, except with members of the same household, and limiting the capacity for outdoor events to a maximum of 5 people. Individuals who live alone may consider having exclusive close contact with one other household. Restricting in-person shopping in all retail settings to a 50% capacity limit for pharmacies and for stores that primarily sell food, and a 25% capacity limit for all other retail, along with other public health and workplace safety measures. Prohibiting personal care services and personal fitness services. Prohibiting indoor and outdoor dining. Takeout, drive-through, and delivery will continue to be permitted. And limiting capacity at weddings, funerals, and religious services, rites, or ceremonies to 15% total occupancy indoors, or to the number of individuals that can be maintained 2 meters of physical distance outdoors. We know that this news will be difficult for many across the province, especially after all of the sacrifices Ontarians have already made to fight this deadly virus. But the modeling has shown us that we must be nimble in applying public health measures to reduce the risk of transmission in our communities. It's even more important now when every vaccine administered represents one step closer to an end to the pandemic. Across the province, we are continuing to vaccinate tens of thousands of people every day, and we will use this shutdown period to vaccinate even more Ontarians, of course, pending supply. Until then, we are asking everyone to please continue to follow all public health measures and advice, including limiting trips outside your home to essential purposes only and allowing employees to work from the safety of their homes. We've bent the curve before, and we can do it again. And recent modeling showed us that there is reason to be optimistic for a summer we can all enjoy. But it will take a collective effort from all of us. So thank you for doing your part to stop the spread of this deadly virus and keep our communities safe. Thank you.
Well, there
We'll go to the
finally
phone line for questions.
was
First
the
question,
announcement.
please. from Jeff Gray at the Globe and Mail.
Hi, Jeff.
Oh, hi. Thanks very much. I wanted just to ask for some clarity, I guess, about the measures that are referenced in Dr. Brown and the science table's modeling today. They talk about a stay-at-home order. The language you're using today, it doesn't sound like this is the equivalent of a stay-at-home order. Can you explain the difference, why you're not going ahead with that kind of order?
I'll pass that over to Minister Elliott. Thank you.
Dodged that one.
Yeah,
we are
well,
not
he
going
threw her
to
under the
be
bus in the
producing
beginning
a
to make
stay-at-home
her
order
anyway.
because we saw that last time that it had tremendous ill effect on both children and adults. And especially with the warmer weather coming, we want people to be able to go outside and enjoy the outdoors, assuming that everyone continues to follow the public health safety precautions. What we are introducing is an emergency brake shutdown that allows some activities to be carried out, but the lockdown, we know with the warmer weather coming, with all that we've asked Ontarians to sacrifice, is too difficult to do. And we also, of course, have to balance any measures that we take with people's mental health as well. So that's why we chose the emergency brake shutdown rather than the lockdown.
Follow-up?
It does seem, though, that in hotspots like Toronto and Peel, there are very few changes then to the activities that people are allowed to do or not to do. And I wonder, is it possible that these small changes, I mean, it looks like patios is the only major one, will actually cause any reduction in caseloads in those areas which are already in trouble? And I wonder maybe if Dr. Brown could comment about the difference here between these two ideas.
Sure, I'll pass it over to Dr. Brown, but before I do, I just want to remind everyone, we have the toughest restrictions in North America. We have the toughest restrictions in Canada right now, and we're throwing everything at this virus. And I'll pass it to Dr. Brown.
Thanks. The modeling we presented was based on the experience, the reduction in cases that we saw in Ontario with the lockdown and the stay-at-home that we saw after the winter holidays. We try to use historical examples to be able to ground these estimates in the models. It would be hard for me to say right now what the difference will be between this emergency brake order and the effect of the order after Christmas.
Next question.
From Mike Crawley at CBC. Please go ahead.
How you doing, Mike?
Hi, Premier. What is the strongest restriction in this emergency brake shutdown that is actually different from the lockdown? And how is that going to have any impact on cases? What are the significant differences in this emergency brake shutdown that are going to have any significant protective effect over what already exists in lockdown?
Well, thanks for the question, Mike. First of all, it's province-wide. And we've seen as the variants and the virus spread all over, no matter if it's Sudbury, up to Thunder Bay, down in London. We see it spreading at a rapid pace. So it's a complete shutdown of the entire province. We also see, the people gathering in large groups that were totally discouraging. We saw what happened in the last holiday season. It took off, so we're discouraging that. Outdoor dining, I can tell you, it kills me to cut off the outdoor dining. It does. I'm getting calls, my phone's blowing up, and my heart breaks for these people, and that's why we're putting the $40,000 to a total of $40,000 grants. We've extended that till April 7th to help bridge the restaurants over till the end of the 4-week period. But we could put all the restrictions in the world, Mike. We need the help of the people too. I know it's difficult last year. It's painful for everyone, and it's hurt a lot of people. But we have to do it. I am convinced 100%. Not even a question in my mind. If we don't do it, we'd be in deep, deep trouble. We'd see the ICUs get out of control. We'd see the deaths get out of control. We're finally getting our arms around the mortality rates and long-term care, and thank God for that. And now what we're seeing is younger people ending up in ICU and in some cases passing away, which is terrible. So we need to do this. I know there's a lot of people that just want to go out there and open up, and no, they don't believe this variant can be passed. I'm sorry. You know, I'm a business person. I want to open up patios, but we just can't. We just can't. We went for 8 or 9 hours till midnight last night on a caucus cabinet call, and there's debate, a lot of debate. But I told them if we want to see, you know, the summer and be able to have, you know, a chance to get out there if we receive the millions of vaccines that we expect, then we have to do it. We have to crunch down one more time for 4 weeks. It's a sacrifice that we have to take.
Follow up?
What do you think here, Lee? How long should we stay with this?
I don't know. I think we've heard basically the gist of what it is. These are going to be probably GTA-centric questions that are following. Probably one of the most important questions that we heard is, okay, how is it any different? Well, it seems that we know how it's different. There's no indoor dining at all. So restaurants are turtling once again. And even communities that have been reporting no issues. For example, I use the example of Kingston, which was one of those communities that got hit hard at the beginning, and then they were pretty much wide open. I'm not sure what they are right now, and I only bring that up is because they were one of the communities that had been really, really clean. Niagara, we know that what we've been dealing with, because as we opened up and got into lighter colors, people from other regions were close enough to us to come into Niagara. So Southern Ontario, the Golden Horseshoe, if you will, the GTA and the surrounding areas, are a bit of a more complex situation than something that is an isolationist type community like a London or a Kingston or places like that. But I think we've seen from them pretty much anything that's important to us as far as how it's going to affect us, and we're going backwards. And that's all there is to it. It just is what it is, what it is. And obviously you'll be able to read all the details online here in Niagara 411 as well. And
but it corroborated the rumors, right? Nothing different from what was rumored over the last 18 hours or so.
Nothing different from the rumors whatsoever. If you are so inclined, before we sign off for this week, if you are so inclined to join us, click on the link and come on in and have a chat. We'll stay on the air if you have any interest in having a conversation with us. And in the meantime, I want to once again thank our sponsors for sticking with us on this extended version of the program. Gales Gas Bars Limited, of course, our title sponsor, fueling Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry since its inception. And also Simpson's PharmaSave Pharmacies in Virgil and Niagara-on-the-Lake, Verge Insurance Group, locally owned and operated here in Niagara. And of course, it was a pleasure to speak today with Carlo Zecchini of Performance Heating and Air. Just a super chat with him today. Again, we thank those of you that stuck with us through this. The videos that we shared with Tina and Paul, Hope is just Turner is just. I can't imagine how families do that. Our hearts go out to you, and congratulations on keeping the Hope Cup alive in some form through 2021, as well as Amy Layton, Royal LePage. Thank you for being here. Kevin of WeeStreem, thank you. Brandon Shrem, his partner. Kevin, of course, our executive producer, and we love to work with. We'll be able to keep this going anyway. we'll be here alone, but we'll be able to keep it going. Season 2, Episode 14 of Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry coming around next week. Hope you can join us for that again Thursdays at noon here at Fiddler's Poorhouse. Thanks, Nick. Thank Dave Moogparian as well. Sorry you're going to have to shut this puppy down yet again, other than takeout, and we're sorry to hear that news. Gravelly Jones is coming up to play us off the stage with a song that's very relevant today in the fact that there was a third mass shooting in the United States in the last couple of weeks. This is a song called Shoot 'Em Down. Have yourself a happy Easter on that note. Take care. Thanks for being here.
So you bought yourself a gun from a trade show shelf because you've got the right to protect yourself. Protect this flag, protect this house, you better shoot 'em down. Better mow 'em down like you mowed your lawn. Only take a minute until 50 gone. If they don't get it, then they're in the wrong. You better shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down. Whoa, whoa, shoot 'em down, yeah. The GOP, funded by the NRA, you got the approval, the thumbs up, okay. And history's made in the millennial age. If you shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down. You got nothing to lose if you're in bad health. They didn't listen before, but they listen now. If you shoot 'em down, whoa, yeah, oh, if you shoot 'em down, oh, yeah, whoa, yeah. By masses, they will dark and hide. By the masses, they will hear peace cry. Takes an instant, insecurity dies. If you shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, shoot 'em down, hey! Like you mowed your lawn. Only take a minute till 50 gone.